Hello, guys. I'm going to get us some invites here and get some shares out, and we'll be right with you.
Hey there.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good, good. Just know that Tim has been sick all day.
Uh-oh.
He's doing better now, but he's gonna come on around 8 o'clock, okay?
Okay.
Hey
All
guys.
I
right.
didn't
So
know
it's
he'd
just
been
us three.
sick.
Yeah, I didn't either until just now, so hi Sally.
Hi.
Oh, did he just say something a minute ago or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I heard it. Well, he hadn't been real active today, so
No. I was surprised actually. I
I
thought he was
hope it's
doing
not the
well.
meds making him sick.
He says it's his stomach, so
Oh, no.
hopefully it's not the same whatever was going on, you know?
That may be a clot.
I hope not.
I hope
I
not,
hope
too.
not.
But they cause pain.
Yeah, well, let's hope not.
Bless his
He is
heart.
on blood thinners. You'd think he'd be all right, right?
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah. Oh, I hope he is.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
I wonder if I should have said, I'm going to send out a reminder on Facebook because I didn't send anything out since yesterday.
Yeah, I'll send something out here too. I'll send some to people.
I'm sending it to everybody on my list.
Okay. Some of these people probably get them from all of us.
I know they're probably frustrated.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
well.
okay though.
What you gonna do?
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, Dorothy.
Hi, Shannon. I see you're
Shannon.
there.
Hey, Shannon.
Hi Shannon. Hey Dorothy. Hey
Paul.
Mark.
Jay.
I'm just trying to send out some invites,
Shine
guys.
that light.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark. Mark.
Does it help? Does it help when we do this?
I think so.
Yeah.
If everybody could tap the screen when you're coming in, it'll help us get some likes, get started.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hey Dorothy.
Hey,
Hey.
Tracy, you're there. That's awesome. Haven't seen you in a little bit.
Hey, Tracy.
Good to see you, Tracy.
Yeah, I was
We
glad to
missed
see
you
your
when you're
message
not here,
online.
Tracy.
Exactly. Hi, Mark. Mark.
Hey, Dorothy. Hey, Mark. Other Mark.
It's hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. And then all the Stevens.
Yeah. I can't believe it's Friday. This has been the fastest week that I can remember. It feels like yesterday was Sunday and today's Friday. Cannot
Yeah,
believe
I
it.
know.
It just is,
Hi, Stone. I saw you come in there.
doesn't feel like Friday to me.
I know it's gone by so quick.
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, Lee's on, too. I didn't know he was on.
Who?
Lee?
Hi, Lee.
Hi,
No,
Stone.
he's on live. He's doing live.
Oh, he's doing it live. That's right. I
Yeah,
saw him on there a few minutes ago.
Wow, he's on late. It's like 1 in the morning
I
in the
know.
UK.
That's what I was thinking.
I couldn't stay up until 1 in the morning anymore. Hi, Faye.
Hey, Faye.
I'm
Stone. Hey.
I'm falling asleep right now. I ate too much and I'm like sitting on the couch and I'm just like sleepy. But I'll stay awake, don't you
Hi,
worry.
Faye.
Okay. Hi, Shannon. Isn't it crazy, Tracy?
Anybody?
That was Friday already? It's just gone so
I
fast.
know. Anybody new coming in there? I haven't seen any new names yet.
Hey, Faye. I saw a couple of new names.
Did you?
Yeah. I think we're getting new people on and off, you know.
Yeah. Yes, Mark, I did hear that, and I was telling Sally and Gulanov today about the fact that in January, TikTok in the United States is banned.
No.
Yes.
What?
Unless another company buys it, it's banned.
In the
I
United
sent you
States?
guys in the United States. I sent you guys a message on that. You'll
I
have
don't
it
see
there.
how they can do that with free speech.
I
Come
didn't get
on.
anything on that
Come
from
on.
you.
When's the last time we had free speech?
Shannon, I picked up dinner on my way home tonight. I went to this place called the Smoke Pit and I had beef burn ends. It was really good.
Yeah, Tracy, I see that. So banned from being foreign owned. So if some American or like American company buys it, then it'll still go, but otherwise it'll be banned. It's basically it's the same here in Canada. They closed all of the TikTok offices. Now we're still allowed to use it, but the actual company is not allowed to be here in Canada.
I'll
So they're
believe
all
it on
closed.
I'll believe it on the 20th when we can't do lives anymore. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, but I mean, like I said, Canada's offices, like of TikTok, were banned from being in Canada, and they closed them. They said we can still use it because it's still like an app, like all other apps, right? Because we have all kinds of foreign apps that we still use, but they're not allowed to have an office in Canada. So I wonder if that's the same thing for the United States. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't believe anything they tell us anymore.
Oh, I know, I know.
How many years in a
Mhm.
row have they said that it's going to be a cold, dark winter or whatever? I mean, they've been saying the same
Yeah,
crap forever. I don't pay any attention anymore.
That's
yeah,
true,
that's true.
Shannon. I would imagine that'll probably be what happens.
Yeah.
Elon will
E-
probably buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Or Billy Fence.
It's been a cold, dark winter.
Come to Canada, Tracy.
It's cold here tonight. I know that.
It's cold
Yeah,
here for North Carolina standards. It's about 35 degrees, which is colder than it usually is right now. But
yeah.
it's been sunny all week though, so that's not too bad.
Yes, Billy Gatekeeper. Yep.
I think everything's fixing to massively change on us, though. They're
I
going
think
to do
so
a bunch
too.
of stuff to us, I'm afraid.
Yes, Tracy, I agree. She says
Yeah,
she's concerned about how Elon's taken over everything.
we had wind a lot today and yesterday too, Tracy. It made it feel a lot colder.
Yeah, it was ever more blowing here one night. I mean, it was loud.
Yeah, it got down to 18 here, which it doesn't usually get that. Usually it gets down to right around freezing, but it got down to 18 a couple nights this week.
I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's -6 here right now in Celsius. I'm not sure. We tried to figure that. I'm really terrible with math, so and converting.
That's chilly.
It's cold, yeah. And it actually feels colder with the wind chill because it's quite windy here.
I think Tracy's in Ohio, if I'm not. Is that right, Tracy? Are you in Ohio? I don't know why I'm
I don't know.
Iowa. I was Ohio.
Hi, Marie.
I'm originally from Illinois, Tracy.
I did pretty good tonight. Got a few people here.
Yeah.
Where is Devon? I know that's in the UK. Is that England, Mark?
Devon?
He says we have
Uh,
life-threatening wind here. Life-threatening warning, wind warning. I know he's
Wow.
in.
he's in the UK, is he not?
Yeah, but is that England? Are you in England, Mark? Yeah.
He said yeah. Yeah.
I've never been to England. Tracy, I grew up in Peoria, Illinois, and then I lived all over Chicagoland for about 10 years before I moved to North Carolina.
Oh, wow. That's a huge
Mhm.
city.
What, Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago for 10 years.
Can you imagine somebody wanting to go? Hi, Cypress. Can you imagine somebody wanting to go to Chicago for their wedding or honeymoon?
Maybe in July.
Well, they did go. It was in June. It was June 30th or whatever. I guess it would have been July. Um, but it was so hot that the color was melting off their clothes.
Oh, wow.
Not
That's
usually
how
that
hot
hot in July in Chicago. Not usually.
it was. So hot that summer. That was
It's
12 years ago.
it's changed a lot. Like when I was there, it was fairly safe. Like downtown was safe and the crime was down and everything. And it's gotten really kind of ghetto-y in the last 10 years. It's not a great place to be. I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard it's got really rough.
It's gotten really rough.
Everywhere has, though. I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's
New
getting
Orleans
bad.
is worse, and Jackson, Mississippi is real bad. All the bigger places close to where I used to live are bad now.
Hmm.
Mobile.
We haven't gotten too bad. I mean, I'm Charlotte. We're not too bad.
I was nursing right when all of it started in Pascagoula. We were just starting to have gangs and stuff that we didn't used to have, and it was getting kind of hairy working in the ER at that point already.
Hmm.
And the big hospital in New Orleans kept trying to recruit me, and it was like they had plaques in the hallway when I went down there to interview. So and so nurse that died in the line of duty in the ER. They had plaques for everybody that had passed away, been shot or
Wow.
stabbed in the ER. It's crazy. I
I
can't even
guess.
imagine today what it would be like.
No, me either.
I mean, we were
Wow.
just starting to have that kind of stuff. We had people pulling guns in the lobby and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can even say that on here. I don't know if I should have said that.
Sorry, TikTok.
Yep. I don't know what all the rules are on those on the that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, so I don't need to talk about it probably. Unless I find
Yeah, we'll
out.
just leave that. We'll leave that word out.
Yeah. Well, I guess I get started here. Tonight we're
Yeah,
going to
I guess
talk about
so.
the parables. And you see my little cartoon up there, parables, oh my, because most people have no clue what Jesus is trying to do with the parables. And tonight, hopefully, people will start to understand what he was trying to tell us with them. And I've got 33 slides tonight. I don't know if we'll make it through all of them or not, but if I could have had 100. I was sitting there trying to mill through my brain, going, okay, which ones are the most important? Which ones do I want to talk about? You know, um, so we'll probably revisit this again. We already talked about it once, but I added more stuff to it this time. So, um, first thing I wanted to talk about is cognitive dissonance. This is a biggie. It's like people don't realize how big this is until you start trying to talk to people about what we've realized. Because once you start trying to talk to people, then you can really tell it. Um, what is cognitive dissonance? And I want to talk about that too, because everybody always mentions it, but they don't tell you what it is. Cognitive dissonance is when your perception of something is not the same as what is reality. And therefore, your brain is going, but this is the way I always knew it, but this new information I'm being hit with, it looks real. Now, oh my gosh, what do I do? It's like because your brain is just in overload. It's like it causes fear, stress, anxiety. Um, it can cause loss of friends. It can cause all kinds of conflicts within yourself. And it pretty much can throw you into anxiety attacks. I know it almost did me when I first realized all this. It was like I was so disturbed. I just wanted the answers and I wanted them yesterday because I was scared. Because what we were taught was not what I thought. Well, the big cognitive dissonance that goes on when you start talking about what we're going to talk about is the Old Testament deity is good in the perception of the Christian mind. They're a loving God, and they're the God that Jesus taught us. But then in the reality, when you start listening to Jesus's words and they start hitting you home, it's like all that is backwards. It's like, no, he's not good. He's evil and he's the devil. And um, Jesus taught a father that was Abba Father. And it's like once you realize that, it's like, oh my gosh, what does that do to my beliefs? Even have a belief without, having the Old Testament. Do I have to have the Old Testament? You know, the reality is your soul's on the line. Literally, your soul is on the line. Because what are you going to do if you're worshiping the wrong father? That's how big this is. And that's one reason it causes such panic and internal conflict when you find it out. And I've analyzed and analyzed this. Another reason it causes big panic and conflict is this: loss of community and belonging. It's like, oh my gosh, if I don't have my church family and I don't have, the same beliefs as them, they're going to drop me. So you not only have you've got generalized anxiety disorder at this point, then you have panic disorder because you're panicking over the answers and you're hearing the real truth and you are, but it's like, I don't know if I can deal with this mentally. And then you start trying to talk to your friends about it and you get into the loss of community, which puts you into social anxiety disorder. So you've got three different kinds of anxiety going once you understand this information we're presenting. And it's real hard to deal with it. And I can still think back to the days that I just sat there and cried. I'm like, Father, help. I'm losing my mind here. I know what I'm seeing is true, but, I'm going to lose every friend I got. I started out, I was like a moderator or something like that, a manager type thing, with a 40,000 K group, and was checking their profiles and checking their posts and making sure everything was okay when I started to understand all this and started to first start seeing it. And the first thing that happened was all the other moderators started jumping on me when I started asking them about it. It was like I was trying to talk to them about it and they didn't want to hear it. They got really upset with me. And I'm like, but I think I'm seeing this about Paul. That was when it started. I have a problem with Paul. He's not talking the same as Jesus. And, oh, you can't say that. And then they wanted to do this little, what do you call it? Like a statement of faith or whatever, like a church has. And they wanted everybody to agree with it before they could join. And I had an issue with their statement of faith because it was like the tracts you see are the one I showed y'all that came to my door. There was nothing on it but Paul's scriptures. And I was like, I said, where's Jesus's words in this? And do you know one of them literally cursed at me when I got mad about that? They literally said a cuss word at me. And I said, y'all don't even know him. I said, we've got to take his words above everybody's in the whole scripture. And then it got into a roll fight, and I ended up leaving, and because I just couldn't go along with what they were doing. But this is what's happening. This is like a prophecy he gave us. And we don't see this either because it's not translated correctly. But when you look at Thayer's Dictionary of the Amen, and you go down to the bottom, it says it means firm or verily, amen, or at the end. It literally is a phrase for meaning at the end in Greek, and they used it at the end of plays and books and stuff to let people know they were at the end of the thing, just like we have at the movies, and it'll say the end. But when you read John 5:25, it changes the meaning when you put that in there. It's like at the end I tell you, or I say to you, an hour is coming and is now here when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear him will live. And that's what we've got going on. Father is waking people up to the truth. and some are hearing it and some aren't. And that causes conflict too. But I just want y'all to be aware of where we're at. I do think we're at the end times, and I do think that some of us are hearing it and some people aren't. And sometimes, no matter how hard you want your loved one or your best friend or your husband or whoever to hear the truth, they can't do it. They just can't bring themselves, and it's that cognitive dissonance. It's the anxiety over it. It's going against everything they've ever been taught, and it's really hard. But we just have to keep trying because I know everyone we reach, Father's just smiling. It's like every time we get through to one of them, He's smiling, even though we're going through a hard time, because I know there are many days I don't even want to talk to nobody because I know it's going to be a battle when I do. But we have to keep trying, even if it's just little subtle. Don't overwhelm them. Don't try to slam it down their throat, but drop the hints. Drop a little bit here and a little bit there, you know, and get their mind thinking, because they might not realize it today, but maybe 12 months from now, something you said will click when they're reading the scriptures. You just never know. Okay. One thing we got to remember too, when we're looking at the scriptures, we're told in Matthew 13:34, all these things spoke Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spoke he not unto them. So when he's talking, he never spoke without talking about a parable. That's how important they are. So there's a comparison to be made in almost everything he said. And these comparisons, he said he's going to open his mouth in parables, and he'll utter what has been hidden since the foundation of the world. That's a long time for something to mean, because you're thinking, how could they be wrong for 2,000 years? How could they, what makes you think you're right? When you hear those comments, it's like, he taught us, he said, he is going to open his mouth and say things that were hidden since the foundation of the world. So that's your answer to them when they say that. It's like, there you go. So what is a parable? That's the next thing we need to talk about. It comes from the Greek and Latin words for parabole or parabola in Latin. In French is parabole. It was the same all the way across the board, Greek, Latin, and French. And it meant comparison. It's a sense of comparing something or throwing an idea side by side to one another so you can see the difference. And it particularly deals with comparisons on how we are to learn how to act. So that's why it plays so heavy in spiritual in your scriptures, because it deals with how your belief and how you act, how your beliefs form how you're going to act when you walk out into the world, or they should. But para means beside, and Balaam, the last part of the word, means to throw. So it's to throw beside each other and look at it and decide what's different. What are they trying to say? What is the comparison I'm supposed to see here? Here's a biggie. Father is light, not dark. That's an easy one to get across to people. It's like John 1, 4 through 5. In him was the life, and life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. Then when we go to 1 John 1, 5 through 7, we have the same stuff being said. And that's because I think the epistles of John were literally meant to help us understand the Gospel of John better. But it says, this is the message we have heard from him and declare to you, God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If we say we have fellowship with him and we walk in darkness, we lie, and we do not practice the truth. But if we walk in the light, He is in the light, and we have fellowship with one another. And it goes on and on about the light, that whole chapter. Then John 8, verse 12, then Jesus spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. We see it again in Luke 1:78 and 79. The tender mercy of our God, which is the dayspring from on high, or Jesus, to give light to those who sit in darkness and the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And to me, that's the peace instead of the unalivement and all the slaughter stuff of Yahweh. John 9:4 through 5. I must work the works of him, the Father, who has sent me while it's day. The night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. So he was telling us he is the light of the world. Now, on the flip side, here's your comparison. When we look, and that's going to be kind of small for y'all, I'm sorry, I put too many verses. But when you look at the Old Testament and you look at Yahweh, it's like Exodus 20:21. And the people stood far off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. So God was sitting in a thick darkness in the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 5:22. And the words of the Lord spoke unto the assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire of the cloud, and thick darkness with a great voice, and he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tablets of stone, and delivered them unto me. So out of the thick darkness was Yahweh speaking, giving them the commandments on the stone. Joshua 24:7. And when they cried unto the Lord, he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your eyes have seen what I have done in Egypt, and ye dwell in the wilderness a long season. So it goes on and on and on. There's one that says, he bowed the heavens and came down, and darkness was under his feet. He made darkness his secret place, his pavilion about him, and the dark waters and the thick clouds of the sky. He even tells us in Isaiah 45:7, I form the light and I create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I and the Lord do all these things. So that's Yahweh. He creates the darkness and he creates evil. So that cannot be Father, because God is light and in him is no darkness at all. Then we see it here. It's like in John 8. He answered, we're going to start in verse 39. I'll go all the way through 47. They answered him, Abram is our father. And Jesus said to them, if you were Abram's children, you would be doing the works Abram did. But now you seek to kill me or unalive me, a man who has told the truth that I heard from God. This is not what Abram did. You're doing the work of your father did. And they said to him, we were not born of sexual immorality. We have one Father, even God. And Jesus said to them, if God were your Father, you would love me. For I came from God, and I am here now. I came not of my own accord, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? Is it because you cannot bear to hear my words? You are of your father, the devil, and your will is to do your father's desire. He was an unaliver from the beginning, and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaketh out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. Which one of you convicts me of sin? I tell you the truth. Why do you not believe me? Whoever is of God hears the words of God. The reason why you do not hear them is that you are not of God. That was some strong, strong words he said. Some very, very strong ones. It's like he was telling them straight up, you're not hearing me. You don't know who I am. It's like you don't know anything about me. If you did, you'd love me because I came from the Father and I was sent. He didn't say he was born of a virgin. He said he was sent. And when you look at what they're doing, like that's the Shema there, and that's out of the Talmud, Barakat 13a, if you want to look it up. The number for reciting the Shema, in any language you understand, is 666, section D5. Everything they have to do with is 666. That's because 666 is Yahweh's number. That should ring home and say something to you. Even their stars have 6 points, 6 mini triangles, and 6 sides. So what is it? Yahweh is not the Father. Compare, compare, compare. Constantly be comparing. What did Jesus say? What does Yahweh say? What does Jesus say? What does Yahweh say? Okay. Matthew 5:43. You have heard that it hath been said that thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and bless them that curse you, and do good to them that hate you, and pray for those that despitefully use you and prosecute you. And he also told us in John 13:34, a new commandment I give you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. Okay, now, how does this stack up with Exodus 32:27? And he said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, put every man his sword on his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and unalive every man, his brother, and every man his companion, which means friend or fellow or another person, and every man his neighbor. Is that loving your neighbor? No. That's what they were told to do. If Yahweh doesn't change, then how in the world could Yahweh be the Father that Jesus taught? There's no way. There's no way. Here's another example. Matthew 5:45. So that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven, for he makes the sun rise on the evil and on the good. He sends rain on the just and the unjust. So Father's not going to be any different to somebody that's evil as to somebody that's not. But then when we look at Yahweh, it's like Deuteronomy 11:17. Then the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and you will shut up the heavens, so there'll be no rain. And the land will yield no fruit, and you will perish quickly off the good land that Yahweh has given you. When we look at Deuteronomy 28:24, it's again, the Lord will make the rain of your land powder, and from heaven dust shall come down until you're destroyed. 1 Kings 8:35-36. When heaven is shut up and there is no rain because you have sinned against you, if you pray toward the place and acknowledge your name and turn from their sins, when you afflict them, then you will hear in heaven and forgive their sins in the servants, your people in Israel. When you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and grant rain upon the land which you have given to your people as an inheritance. So only the people he's given land as an inheritance, when they do the right thing, then they're going to see rain. It's like, and then he's going to withhold it in all these other situations. But that doesn't match what Jesus told us at all. Here's another one. I don't think in Father's world anything will have thorns. Nothing's going to have a thorn. Not one thing, not a rose, not nothing. It's like Luke 6:44. He says, for every tree is known by its fruit. Of thorns men do not gather figs, or of bramble bush gather they grapes. Then Luke 8:7, some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprang up and it choked it. He's talking about the seeds. You know, when the sower is sowing the seeds, some of them will fall among the thorns. The thorns will choke them out. What's so significant about that? You wouldn't know unless you read Hebrew. But Moses met Yahweh at a thorn bush that was burning. It's like Exodus 3:2. And the messenger of Yahweh appeared in a flame of fire from the midst of a thorn bush. And he looked up and saw the thorn bush burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Now, what does that remind you of, too, when the bush is not consumed? Our description of what we think that hell will be like. People on fire, but they're not consumed. Same thing. Anything to do with fire to me is like, it's kind of like a kid, you know, when you get too close to fire, you're going to get burnt. And that's kind of like something that I think Father gave us as an instinct to know that fire is not good. Now, I'm adding that, but that's my opinion. Then we have, here's another example. Yahweh's name should even alarm us. If you've done any study on his name, you'll know that it means he will destroy. Because Hebrew is a root word language, and haba means ruin or destroy. When you put a yod in front of it, a yod is he will, as a prefix in Hebrew. So his name literally can mean he will destroy. And when I went to Abram Publishing online, they said it meant destruction as a noun. So when we read Matthew 7:12 through 14, we can see what he's talking about. So whatever you wish for others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophet. He's saying that's the law. To do what we would wish others would do to us, do to them. Like, do unto others. He said that's the law and that's the prophets. He said, enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction. That's Yahweh's name. And those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way that is hard that leads to life, and there are few that find it. He didn't say that 4 billion Christians are going to find the narrow gate. That's not what he said. He said it's hard to find it. It's not easy. And I think if you love Father and you just keep digging and you just keep studying, he's going to show you these things you need to know. He's going to show you that you're going to have to get out there and love everybody and treat everybody just like they're precious in your sight. Don't judge them. Don't do the things that you see other people doing. We have to be different. We have to show love and compassion for everybody. And this, I was just going to show you the places where you can find that root word to Yahweh's name. You can find the root word of his name in Isaiah 47:11. You'll find it twice in Ezekiel 7:26. So that's where you can find what that root word of his name is. And they will tell you all kinds of things that it means, things it does not mean. Okay. Let's see. I was trying to remember what all I wanted to tell you about this one. Oh, here it is. I put this card in here because I had the numbers on it. The number for the root word of his name in Strong's is H 1943. That's the root word. It also has there's another word they say is similar, but it's 1942. But 1943 is the one that's the actual root word of his name. And it's the same as was used in the other verses. It's like, okay. And this is interesting too. Paul also had a thorn in the flesh, and who did he have a thorn in the flesh from? Satan. He told us in 2 Corinthians 12:7, and lest I should be exalted above measure through abundance of revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should exalt above measure. So that goes back to the thorn bush too. Now we have to think about whose voice will we hear and follow. Are we going to follow Yahweh's, or are we going to follow Father's voice? Because when we hear Jesus talking, that's Abba Father. It's like, but I say to you not to swear. And that means to swear an oath at all, neither by heaven, because it is the throne of God. Okay? Then when we go to Deuteronomy 6:13, Yahweh thy God, thou dost fear, and him thou dost serve, and by his name thou dost swear. So you've got two polar opposites. You've got one little devil on the one side telling you to swear, and then you have Jesus on the other side saying don't swear at all. There's just no way to stack this up any other way. Then we have him talking about what father to give you a serpent. You know, when you ask for a fish, it's like Matthew 7:9-12. Or what man is there of you who his son asks for bread would give him a stone? If he asks for a fish would give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father, which is in heaven, give good things to them that ask? Therefore all things whatsoever ye that men should do to you, do even unto them. For this is the law and the prophets. That's where that other verse I was giving y'all, this is before that. It's like, this is exactly what Yahweh did, though, in the Old Testament. When they said they missed a fish and all, he sent them serpents. It's like, for each man cast down his staff, and they became a serpent. And Aaron's staff swallowed up the other staffs. It's like the serpents from Yahweh were swallowing up the other serpents. Numbers 21:6. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit people, and many people of Israel unalived. Jeremiah 8:17. For behold, I am sending among you serpents, adders that cannot be charmed. They shall bite you, declares Yahweh. It's like, this is not the same Father. And he said, or what man of you, if his son asked for bread, would give him a stone? That's exactly what they did in the wilderness. That's what Yahweh did to them. When you look at Numbers 11:15, it says, we have remembered the fish that we did eat in Egypt for naught, and the cucumbers, and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. And now our soul is dry, and not anything save this manna before our eyes. And the manna is as coriander seed, and the aspect of bolash, or gum resin. The people have turned aside and gathered it, ground it with millstones, and beat it with a mortar, and boiled it in a pan, and made cakes. And it tastes like has been the taste of the moisture of oil. And you see those rock crystals there? That is exactly what is mentioned in the scriptures. That is gum resin. It's like crystal rocks. It has to be pounded into a fine powder, is what they're talking about. Let's see. Okay, this at Exodus 16:3. I was going to read this one too. And the people of Israel said to him, would that we have died in the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat at the meat pots and ate bread to our fill? For you have brought us out into this wilderness to unalive this whole assembly with hunger. And that's when they got the bread, because they were complaining and grumbling. But he sent them rocks that had to be ground up. So that has to be what Jesus was talking about. Okay, judging. Is judging from our real Father, are from Yahweh. Matthew 7:1, where he says, Judge not, or that you not be judged. And in Luke 6:37, judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. That's pretty clear cut. If you do these things for other people, then you're going to be forgiven. Exodus 18:13. The next day Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood around Moses from morning to evening. So Moses sat as judge all day from morning to evening. Leviticus 19:15. You shall do no injustice in court. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer the great. In righteousness you shall judge your neighbor. So he literally says you're to judge your neighbor. Okay. And I already mentioned this when I put that in there. The light and the dark. I had it in there twice. Let's talk about blinding people. In Exodus 4:11, and the Lord said unto them, Who has made man's mouth? Or who maketh him dumb, or deaf, or seeing, or the blind? Have not I, the Lord? It's like he's saying, I did it. If a man is blind, then I did it. Okay, Matthew 12:22. Then they brought him into the possession with one possessed with a devil. He was blind, dumb, and he healed him, insomuch that the blind and the dumb both spake and saw. So Jesus was showing the works of the Father are to heal the blind, to heal the dumb and the deaf, and Yahweh is showing his works are to actually blind and make deaf. It's like you do the comparisons back and forth, back and forth. Everything he said, you can compare it. Let's see. John 10:6. The parable spoke Jesus unto them, but they understood not what the things that which they spoke to them. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. It's like he was saying, I'm the good shepherd. He knew they had read Zechariah 11, because this is what it says. And Yahweh said to me, Throw it to the potter, that splendid price that I was valued by them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and threw it to them in the house of Yahweh for the potter. Then I cut in two my other staff, unity, to break the brotherhood between Yehudah and Israel. And Yahweh said to me, Take again the implements of a foolish shepherd. For look, I am raising up a shepherd who does not visit the straying, nor seek the young, nor heal those that are broken, nor feed those that stand still, but he does eat the flesh and the fat, and tear off their hooves. Woe to the worthless shepherd, forsaking the flock! Let a sword be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. His arm shall wither, and his right eye shall be dimmed. So Jesus himself is making the contrast there. That's another reason I think that the one at the Last Supper was JC and not Jesus Barabbas, because he was the one that said, Haven't I chose you 12, yet one of you is the devil? And he's the one that handed him the soap, and immediately Satan entered, or the devil entered him. It's like, so I think you can draw a good contrast between those two, because the one with the 30 pieces of silver was the one that was up in the upper room. That was the foolish one. Okay. Hey, Tim. I just noticed you made it. I hope you're feeling better. Let's see. Okay, I went through that one already. Oh, this is really sad. Psalms 137, 8 and 9. O daughter of Babylon, doomed to be destroyed, blessed shall he be who repays you with what you have done to us. Blessed shall he be who takes your little ones and dashes them against the rock. Yahweh is literally praising and saying that he will bless them for unaliving little babies in Psalms 137. Now, when Jesus is talking in Matthew 18:5, he says, "And whosoever shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. And whosoever shall be offended by one of these little ones which believe in me, it would be better for him that a millstone were hanged around his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. Take heed and despise not one little one, for I say unto you that heaven, their angels do always behold the face of the Father which is in heaven. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish." So he's even saying, it's like he's telling us right there, this is a total different thing from what Yahweh is saying in the Old Testament. How am I doing on time? I put too much in here probably, guys. I'm sorry.
I say do your thing.
I
Do
just
your
want,
thing.
I've tried to pick the most important ones.
Yeah.
Matthew 15:30. Then large crowds came to him, bringing them the lame, the blind, the cripple, and the mute. And he healed these people. And it's like when you go to the Old Testament in Leviticus, he's saying that, "Speak to Aaron, saying, No man of your offspring throughout your generations who has any defect is to draw near to bring the bread for Elohim. For the man who has a defect is not to draw near, a man who is blind or lame or disfigured or deformed, a man who has a broken foot, a broken hand, or is hunchback, or is a dwarf, anybody that has a defect in his eye, eczema or a scab, or an eunuch. No man among you of his offspring of Aaron or the priest who has a defect can come near to bring the offering made by fire to Yahweh. He has a defect, he does not come near to bring the bread of his Elohim. He does eat the bread of his Elohim, both most set apart and the set apart. Only he does not go near the veil or approach the slaughter place, because he has a defect, lest he profane my set apart place, for I am Yahweh who sets apart." He doesn't want anybody defective to even come near him, let alone heal them. I mean, that's pretty sad. Just can't square these two as the same Father. And then Matthew 6, he tells us in verse 19 to 21, "Don't lay up your treasures here for yourself on earth, where the moth and the rust consume them, where the thieves break in and steal them. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consume, and where thieves don't break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." But then Yahweh on the other side in Psalms is going, "From men by your hand, Yahweh, from men of the world, whose portion is in this life, you will fill their belly of the cherished ones. Your sons will have plenty, and they will store up their wealth for their children." He says the complete opposite as to what Jesus tells us to do. We're almost done, guys. I'm sorry. This is another big one. We're told in John 1:18, "No man has ever seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him." That's the only person that's declared him. But yet, in Exodus 33:11, we're told that Yahweh spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And then in Numbers 12:8, he says, "I speak with him mouth to mouth and plainly, not in riddles, and he sees the form of Yahweh. And why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe?" It's like we have the truth, and we're told in John 1:17, this is so true. For the law was given through Moses, but the truth came through Jesus. But we have to read that truth and we have to know what he's talking about to compare apples to oranges, Old Testament to New, Yahweh to Abba Father. Okay, I'm going to skip that one, I think. I want to talk about this for a second. Um, we have two different Jesus to compare to. Not only do these parables go about that, they also give us the comparisons between the two Jesuses. Because we have, like, one of them says, I judge, let's see, John 12:47, and if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. Then we have one that says, and Jesus said in John 9:39, for judgment I come into the world, that they which see might see, which they which see not might see, and that they which see might be made blind. So we have two separate Jesuses talking in these texts too. You have to keep that in mind too. Okay, I'm going to mention this real quick. Matthew 7. I'm going to read it all the way through and give you my take on a couple of places. All things, therefore, whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. That's it. That's what he's saying for us to do. I guess this whole thing revolved around a lot of it around Matthew 7. Um, Enter ye into the narrow gate, for wide and broad is the way that leads to destruction, which is Yahweh's name. And many there are that go there. How narrow is the gate, and strait is the way that leadeth to life, and there are few that find it. Beware of the false prophets, who come to you in clothing of sheep, but inwardly are ravening wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do men gather grapes from thorns, or figs from thistles? The burning bush, the thorn bush. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, and the evil tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, and a evil tree does not bring forth good fruit. So how in the heck is there a tree of knowledge of good and evil? Just things to think about. Every tree that brings not forth good fruit, that tree will be cut down and shall be cast into the fire. Therefore by their fruits you shall know them. Not everybody that says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. That's Yahweh, Yahweh. If you're looking at the Greek Septuagint, that's Yahweh, Yahweh. But he that does the will of my Father who is in heaven, he shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. That's two separate people. Lord, Lord, and Father in heaven. Many will say to you in that day, Yahweh, Yahweh, Lord, Lord. Have we not prophesied in thy name? Have we not cast out devils in thy name? And done many miracles in thy name? And then I will profess to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Now they use that to say that's the law. But is that law really good? You need to go through that law very carefully and decide for yourself and take it to Father in prayer to know whether that law is really good. Because in that law, we have another thing that we can compare the prodigal son to. Uh-oh. Hang on, guys, just a second.
Mark, I'm reading your comments, and Tracy, and I'm not sure that I totally understand what you're saying because I think I'm coming in halfway through the conversation, but at the same time, the circumstances do come into it, and we do love him, and that's why he's in our group. Um, we just don't have every answer that he wants, and literally, he wants a tutor, and we are not his teachers. We can love him through that, we can help him, but we can't be the person that has every answer for him. Even Artis has told him the same thing. We don't have all the answers for him.
Sorry about that. My easel fell over and nobody was near it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
no.
okay. It's all right. Never had that happen before, though. That's somebody trying to mess with my life. I can tell you that. Um, where was I at now? Okay. I was going to tell y'all that the law thing, the iniquity, I don't think it has to do with the law in the Old Testament not following that. I think it has to do with accepting that as being good. Now, that's my take on it because there's just too many things in here that Jesus is warning us about. Oh, I was going to tell you also the reason I think that was where my train of thought was before I had to get up and put the easel back up. Um, is because of the prodigal son. He gave us that parable, where the prodigal son returns back and the father accepts him. But when you look at the Old Testament law, if a son is rebellious, you're told to take them out to the wall and unalive them with stones. That is not the same father. Okay. And this is the thought I'm going to leave you with tonight. It's like in Psalms, we're told in Psalms 24, the earth is Yahweh's, and all the fullness of the world, and those that dwell therein. And Jesus told us in Matthew 16:26, for what is a man profit if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? And that is the big thing that we need to think about. It's like, because he told us where we're at. We're not in Father's world. In fact, you're in hell. Most people don't want to hear that, but I'm going to tell you the truth. You're in hell. He told us in John 8:23, then he's told them, you are from below, and I am from above. You are of this world, and I am not of this world. Oh, TikTok. Darn it.
Maybe we need to do a pan dance.
I'm telling you, it's like I'm being attacked while I'm trying to do a live. But what he was saying there, he's telling us we're from the kato cosmos in Greek. It's not translated real correctly to just say the below. That literally meant the underworld or the hell in Greek in the first century. He was telling that we're the captives he came to set free from the prison. When people say that he went to hell to get people out, he did. He came to get us out. It's us that he's talking about. And we're captives. I don't know why we're here, but we are captives. When you read his word in Greek, it's a lot easier to understand what he's saying. But I just wanted to share this with y'all because I think this is the most important message we have, is because it's hard to see the two Jesuses until you can see the two fathers. There's like two different things going on in this book, but nobody has ever shown us that. We've been fed a narrative. If you haven't watched my video on the Chaldean box, or they put Jesus in a box for you, I think is what I labeled it. But it has to do with Jesus in box. If you put that in the search, you should get it if you're on my YouTube channel. But they literally did. They took the two Jesuses, stuffed them in a box, and tried to make you believe both of them are the same guy, is what they did. And I prove it out in that video. So it's a very interesting video because I had never realized what they did. It was like in 400 something AD when they made that decision to tell you how to believe what you were reading. And they even unalive people for that. They wouldn't even let people read the text themselves. But I just wanted to share this with y'all tonight. I think it's a good message, and I think it's something we really need to think on. And I know some of it was a repeat for y'all that listen to me all the time, but still in all, I think the more times we drill it in our head, the easier it is to tell other people about it. It's like, well, why do you believe that? Well, here's an example, and you can remember the examples if you hear them over and over. So I
Exactly.
didn't think it was a bad thing to repeat this, even though some of it was
Not at
not new
all.
material.
Yeah. Okay. Um, we have, I don't know whether we should bring this up or not, but I mean, we've got an issue in the comments about, how we've behaved with Joshua on here. Um, the feeling is that we don't love Joshua. We're not behaving in a way that we love Joshua. Um, and I
I
don't
don't.
agree. I
I
I think we're
disagree
doing
too.
our very best.
I just
Go ahead,
asked
Sally.
what I just asked him, like, what is the problem? Like, we were not,
He
we
didn't
didn't.
like our impatience with him, but I mean, the guy had probably 45 minutes of our time asking pretty much the same questions, and we were trying to tell him we don't have the answer for that the way he wants it, and then he's demanding artist time, and he's doing this and that. We can't satisfy everyone, and it's like Tracy said, we're not. It's not like we didn't give Josh time. It's not like we're abusing him in any way. We love Josh. He's with us. He's in our group,
I
and
love
we've told
Josh, and
him to
I'm
put some, exactly,
still
put the
helping
questions in the
Josh. I
group
gave
and we
him,
will help him.
he asked me
Exactly.
to analyze verses this week for him. I have done that. It's like I
We're
try to
doing the best we
answer.
can.
We just can't
Exactly.
dedicate we can't dedicate every show to him coming on and asking the same questions. Whether it's him or anybody, it isn't even about it being him. But
No, exactly.
if somebody comes on and they're going to ask a question, and then artist goes into 5 minutes of explaining it, and other people in the panel do the same thing. Part of the problem is they're not hearing a word they ask the question, they're not hearing what they want, and they're tuning us out, and then they come right back and ask the same question in a different way. And for us on the panel, you have to understand that's a little bit frustrating, because again, we're giving our time and our effort and our energy into studying this to be able to show it and share it. And sometimes, yes, sometimes we make mistakes, or sometimes we get impatient, but at the same time,
I'm
when
not a
some
teacher, guys.
yeah, when it's
I'm
just
sharing what I've seen, and if you don't agree
That's
with me,
right.
that's fine.
yeah.
But I'm not
Yeah.
a teacher. I'm just sharing what I think I've seen, and then you take it, study it out, and decide for yourself what you think.
Well, like
I
here's
was just
here's the
going to
thing.
say
Here's the
that.
thing is like, let me just like say what I want to say. Just real quick. Just based off of what I've seen in the past 20 minutes of the live going the way it is, and then like I'm talking about like the messages that are like down below. So if you're gonna be a secular human, be a secular human. Like love humanity. And that's great. You should love humanity. Even if you are an atheist. You should, or if you have questions about this God or about this deity that is who everybody in this panel is saying he is or it is, you should love your neighbor as yourself. Everybody that you are, everything that you are as a person, as a secular human, you should love the other person as equally as yourself.
Hmm.
And that's what it's about. It's
Yeah.
about being a secular human. It
Yeah.
has
I think
it has
we,
nothing to
I
do
think
with
we've
like
done
an
well with
actual like
Josh,
truth
actually.
knowledge.
Yeah. I think Josh is a good guy, and I do like his questions. I do like him coming up, but sometimes when I mean, again, he doesn't. The people, there's only some people here that understand Josh's situation, and we do very well with Josh, meeting him at his level and his needs. So you can't really judge something that you don't know the inside story on. That's all I'm going to have to. And then we'll drop that and move on.
Who
Um,
is it that has a issue with it? Because they need to message me, and I will talk to them.
Mark,
it's yeah.
not Mark, the other Mark.
Okay. Mark,
Mark, are you? Is
if you
he in the
can
group? I'm
message
not
me,
sure.
and send me a message on here, I will get back to you and tell you some inside scoops so you understand what's going on. Okay? I'm doing the
Yeah,
best I can, you know.
we all are.
That
Okay,
message right
what do we
there.
want to do from
I
here?
love
Anybody?
people. I love
Cypress.
people in Black Christ. Like that is so that's so ridiculous that somebody would even say that on
Yeah,
chat.
we get
Like,
that sometimes. We get that sometimes. Cypress, you had a question earlier on there that I asked you to bring up. Can you remember what it is? Uh,
what did I
I'm just
say?
going to
I can't
scroll
remember.
back. I'm scrolling back here. You had a. I'm almost there.
A long scroll, I guess.
Uh huh. There's a lot of comments. Oh, okay. You just wanted to know um, what scripture she was reading from when.
Oh, about John 8?
Oh, you said is that uh, John 8:40 that you were reading, artist?
Yeah,
Um,
it was that set of scriptures in that section there. I read
Yeah.
several of them.
Yeah, John 8:40. Yeah, no, I know what it is.
okay. Yes, that's where she was. Okay. So, anybody else have any questions? There was somebody that wanted to come up at one point. First of all, Cypress, if you have any more questions, go ahead and ask. You're there.
Oh no, like so whenever she was reading it, I had said I actually asked for a comparison actually. Now that I'm thinking about that. It
Okay,
was a
so
comparison from
John.
John 8:40. So John, not just John 8:40, it would have been from John 8:39 through 44 versus Luke 16:22 through 25. If you read all of those, it gets hairy because like if you just read it, that would be for me my question. And I know where everything was going like on the live, like as far as
Mhm.
like a comparison of like, you know, I Jesus have given you da 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 a man whom you seek to unalive, blah blah blah. But then when you read all the Luke texts and then the rest of the verse in context, I mean, it gets crazy because you know now when I give you the Luke context of who Yahweh was, the same guy. They're the same people who is literally talking in John 8:40.
You're talking about Lazarus and the rich man, the that parable compared to.
Yeah.
I don't get the what's the problem with that.
Are you saying that they are like, are
The
they
conflicting, or
comparable
you
or,
think,
yeah, are they
or
conflicting or what?
Yeah, it's just a contradiction.
how so is it contradiction?
So like in Luke it would be so like I can't really explain it. It would be about the whole Yahweh situation. They're
Well,
both the same.
yeah, the rich man stays here. He's in hell, and then the Lazarus, the one is in heaven. So, because Abram it simply means exalted father. He's with the exalted father in heaven. So they're two separate worlds. And he's
Mhm.
saying there's a great chasm in between. There's a great gulf. There's like, these are not the same place. And
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking
he's
about. Like
he's
it.
basically telling the rich man that you chose your lot. You chose the riches of this world instead of choosing father.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to, if nobody else has any more questions, do you want me to start reading the questions from the video, or
Did
Tim's
that
gonna
answer
just,
you, Cypress? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying now?
No, yeah, no, I get it.
Okay.
That's where I'm getting at too. Like that, it is that it is what you're actually saying.
good.
Yeah, if you want to start with those in, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be
All right.
great.
And Tim's just gonna listen because he's not feeling well, okay? So, all right. The first one
Sean,
is
just a
from,
second. Just a second. Sean,
yep,
down
yep.
here, we don't believe that there is a black Jesus. We don't believe that Jesus was any race. The real Jesus was sent, not born. He doesn't belong to, he said he's not from this world. He's from the world above. He's not from here. It's like I get your comments. I know what you're saying to us.
Yeah.
And if you believe in him, you're a child of God's. You're a child of fathers in heaven. You don't belong to any race anymore down here either. Now, if you
Did
want
you
to
want to come
follow
up,
the
Sean, and
Christ
talk?
one, if you want to follow the Christ one, if you've been listening to what all I've said tonight, then you're going to be following Yahweh. You're going to be following the one that Jesus called the devil. So I'd be very careful how I choose.
Well, I mean, like another thing is like, it's kind of like a slap in the face, Sean. Like, what about all the indigenous people? When I hate to say this, but white people came and said, "Hey, read this passage from this book," or like read this, read that. We're the ones who are saving you, and we're gonna give you this book, and you indigenous people, as well as you know black people, read this book, read this, and this, and this. This is your savior. This is the one that's going to save you. It's like a slap in the face for all of humanity. All of humanity.
Sean is up there right now. You have any questions, Sean? You're up there now, so you might as well ask.
No, I see it as if the Bible was written in China, wouldn't the God be Chinese? And wouldn't the prophets and the chosen people
He's
be
not any
also
race.
Chinese?
We just got done telling you he's not from here. He's not any race. He was sent. He
That's
wasn't born of a virgin.
that's not that's not in scripture. It's
It
like
is. It
everywhere.
absolutely is.
That
It
If
was said
Buddha
almost
if
40
Buddha was from
times that
China,
he
he'd
was
be
sent.
Chinese.
Did you hear what I said? I said he said, Jesus said 40 times, I was sent.
We listen to Jesus' words.
Okay, but he also said, "When you see me, you see the Father."
That's right.
So
He
so
is the
so
Father.
the way he looked was basically the appearance phenotypically of
But
the
his
Father.
father's not from here. He said, no man has ever seen the Father or talked to the Father. And Moses spoke to Yahweh face to face like a man speaks to a man. It's like, so that's not Jesus' father.
Sean, do you realize that we actually believe here that there are two Jesuses, one that was born of a virgin and the other was sent by the Father, who didn't have a nationality here. He doesn't have a race. He was
So
sent.
you're
He didn't come as a child. He was an adult when he came. He appeared, as it says, he was sent, and he wasn't the guy that went to
what denomination
to
is this?
study on Earth. There's
What
no
denomination?
there is we're
We're
not.
not of a denomination. We follow the words of Jesus Bar Abba.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We're
I
not
just
out to get you
Hey, John.
because you're a different race or whatever. And
Hang
I'm
on.
a
No.
multiracial person myself, so
Hang on, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean. Do
Same here.
you know who Barabbas is?
I think that's one of the guys that got hung on the cross.
his
Yes.
first name in the manuscripts was Jesus Barabbas. And Barabbas means son of the Father. And we believe
Ah,
that's the real Jesus.
okay. Can you show me which scripture that's in?
That's in Matthew 27, I believe.
27.
I think it's 27. Let me look and make sure I'm telling you right. Um, it's the part where Pilate is asking which one they want the crowd to choose. Um,
So you're saying like even though the narrative goes to uh Jesus of Nazareth, you say it wasn't him, it was the other guy, huh?
right. I
Jesus
believe
said,
that they switched them. If you ever want to watch a video on it, I have a video, 3-hour video on YouTube called Jesus Christ or Jesus Barabbas.
I just joined because I heard that a very nice verse. You said where he says, someone said, uh, "Depart from me, for I did not know you," and said, even
Yeah,
though
Matthew,
they
in
say,
Matthew 7.
yeah, they say we did this in your works, but he said, "Depart from me, for I did not know you." And then there's other, and then I think in Revelation or somewhere in the New Testament it says, they were led by seducing spirits to
That's
seducing
right.
spirits of evil, of demonic to worship uh pretty much in a paganistic kind of way. So it's like same thing like the Greeks killed the Jews that were living amongst them. And they said, here's Christianity. So now every time the Jews wanted to do their custom, they were being crucified. So that's the way the law was kind of put aside because
that's all of Yahweh. It's
even
all of
today,
Yahweh.
even today, if you try to keep the customs, you can go to jail, or
It's all this. Do you realize that the Bible is Yahweh, Satan's book?
I don't see it. I don't believe that.
No, I know, but
But Sean,
it's
Sean, think about some of the laws in there. Have you read all of them? Have you read the Old Testament?
Yes, I've read.
Okay. Think about the one about the rebellious son. Okay.
Uh,
If your child's rebellious and you can't get them to mind you, you're supposed to take them out to the fence of the city
right.
and stone them, till they're not alive anymore. It's like,
Okay.
could you do that to your own kid?
Okay.
Do you think
I
that's
understand.
good or evil
I think
or?
it's possible because back then they had polygamy, so it's
Polygamy
it's
shouldn't have
different.
anything to do with it.
John, have you ever
You
read the
would
Bible? Have you ever read the Bible from cover to cover?
who me?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
You haven't read the Bible from cover to cover?
No, I haven't read it cover to cover.
Wow. That's
And yet
good.
you call yourself an Israelite?
So when Christ spoke to the people, do you think they all knew the scripture?
Well, hang on a
do you
second.
realize that
Hang on a
Christ
second,
isn't
buddy. Hang on a
who
second, buddy. Have you ever read Deuteronomy, like the whole book of
Yeah, yeah,
Deuteronomy?
I read the whole Deuteronomy.
You read all of Deuteronomy?
Yeah,
Did you skip over Deuteronomy chapter 23?
I read all of it.
Wow. So you approve of slavery?
Slavery. I believe slavery is like that saying. Even though I don't follow them, uh, as above, so below. I believe that's why there is slavery. Slavery will be when Christ come back. There will be slaves to the
I'm
people.
sorry, but
There will be slaves on earth.
what I'm sorry, but you approve of that? Like what? You approve of that?
Yeah, that's how the Israelites got punished, and the black man became slave in America.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
you
that's
approve of enslaving another
Can
human
you
being.
repeat that? Like
Even though
just
your
for the
people were
chat.
enslaved, you would approve of us enslaving another human being.
No, that was our punishment. We were punished. We went to slavery in Babylon, and then we were slaves in Rome.
So you
I mean,
believe the
in
black
Greece.
Hebrewite thing where you're going to enslave other people when Christ comes back?
Yeah,
See, that's wrong. Two wrongs never make a right.
two wrongs don't make a right.
Didn't your mom ever teach you that?
Doesn't the law say an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth?
the law is of Satan. The law is of Yahweh, Satan. There's no darkness in our Father. There's no darkness in Jesus Barabba.
but yet,
Why are you calling Satan like Yahweh?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, and then host, and then Sean, how
Yes.
many laws are there? How many Levitical laws are there?
about 648, something like that.
No, give me the actual number.
I don't know the actual number.
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. You've never you don't know what you're talking about.
And then some laws don't apply to me. Some
Why
laws
don't
are
they
for
apply to you?
females.
Why don't
Like
they?
some laws are for women. Some laws are
They're
for
only for females. Wow.
priests.
Wow. Do you
Not all the laws
have you
apply
heard
to
yourself? Have you heard yourself,
somebody.
bro? Have you heard yourself? They're
Yeah.
only for females. Wow.
Yeah, there are laws that are for only apply to females. There are laws
Only for females. That's
that
insane.
apply to
That's insane.
slaves. Not all, and priests. Like there's laws that's just for priests. So not all the laws apply to
What do you think of the
everyone the
tree
same
of
way.
good? What do you think of what Jesus said that a good tree cannot bear evil fruit, and an evil tree cannot bear good fruit? So that's a duality. If you believe that it's okay that some of the laws of are for you, that you can do certain things. The Father has no darkness in him. He has no evil in him. So some of the laws of unaliving your child and all the different things, that's evil. Those are evil things.
It's a good thing we don't follow the laws anymore, huh?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
shouldn't be following in the first place. That means you're following Satan. It means you are worshiping the wrong
No,
wrong
the
deity.
laws were given to show that mankind can't follow the laws. That's why you
No.
need Jesus
No,
for salvation.
That's not.
No,
why
that's
they-
not true.
It's
No,
exactly
that's
true.
That's just a troll. That's
That's-
a troll.
no.
That's a
It's not a troll. That's
That's-
what
yeah.
the Bible says.
That's a troll thing
Yeah,
to
the
say.
Bible is Yahweh's book. We keep saying that to you. The Bible is
You're
written by
saying
Yahweh.
that
The
Satan
only
is
thing,
Yahweh
the only
too,
thing that's in
right?
the Bible, Satan is Yahweh. The only thing that's
No,
in the
Satan's
Bible
Yahweh.
that is of our Father is what Jesus said. And then you got to take the red letter words of Jesus, and then you got to
Mike.
separate them, because there's
What?
two Jesuses. You have
Yeah,
to
Mike,
find
you
him
know
in there.
You
He
know
said,
it's
seek
true,
and then you
dude.
will find.
You know it's
There's
true.
not two
You guys are
Jesus.
just talking over top of me.
You're way wrong.
Mike, you know
Oh,
it's
no,
true, dude. You know it's
No, it's
true.
not.
That's
No, it's
some
not.
bull.
We don't follow the law anymore. Jesus fulfilled the law. You know that, right?
Mike, if you don't
Yeah.
know what we believe in, and you don't have any idea what we're here talking about, maybe instead of talking to us on the panel, you should go watch the video so you can come back and actually have a conversation with us.
according to the
Because
Bible,
we're not going to have somebody up that's just going to have a battle. We're not here to have battles with people. We're here to get the information out to people. If you want to receive it, go watch the videos on scriptural truth.
Your
Then if you
information
have something to
is not-
say, you can come back.
your
have
information is
conversation.
not biblical. No matter
It
what
is
video
biblical. She goes back.
It's
Yes,
not
it is.
biblical.
No, Mike.
Yeah.
Bro.
What?
Your information is not biblical.
Really? I can show
Yeah,
you what the
it's
Bible says.
presuppositional.
We don't follow the law
That's what it
anymore. I
is.
can show you that right out of the Bible.
That's a
I
presupposition.
don't want to
That's
follow
a
the laws of
presupposition.
Yahweh.
We don't
That's
follow.
that's a presupposition, and you are not factual. You are not factual because it's a presupposition. That is your subjective opinion on why it's not. What'd you say? Come on, say it. That's right.
He's
Why
gone.
it's not factual.
He's gone.
I muted him simply because he wasn't allowing us to talk. It wasn't that I wanted him to leave, but we you guys we can't be talking over one another and getting
Yeah.
into.
We're not actually even here for a battle. We're here to get the information out. If you have a legitimate question, we'll absolutely answer it, but we're not here for a fight. If you really want to understand us or have a battle conversation,
question.
go watch the videos and then come back. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question. So he says, I create good and I create evil. All these
That's
things I
Yahweh.
do.
That's the Christ.
That's Yahweh.
Right. So he does good too.
Okay, here's a
Creates a
question
good
for you.
thing.
Here's a question for you.
He's tricking the entire world into worshiping him, so he has to show duality. Our Father is not dualistic. Yahweh is very dualistic, and he's a liar.
Sean,
He's a liar from the beginning, and he doesn't keep his promises.
Yeah. Sean, do you realize that that Jesus said, "No one has seen the Father or heard his voice"? Yet everybody talks about how Moses was on the mountain talking to God, and it's not God, because it's not the Father, it's God, it's Yahweh, the God of this world. Talking at the burning bush and all those different things. Abraham on the mountain, they were talking to Yahweh, Satan, not the Father in heaven, because the only one that could even reveal the Father was Jesus Barabbas when he came, and he revealed him. He said, "You could, when if you see me, you see the Father."
Yeah, I
And
just
what he
gave
said, he
about what
said
30 examples of how they're polar opposite. You know.
Can
exactly.
can I talk to him real quick? Real quick.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. Look, I'm gonna do some things that I do only on my panel, like when I actually host a live. So, Sean, can you do me a favor? Can you name the 3 laws of logic?
I've never heard of that. That those such thing as 3 laws of logic.
You
Can
don't
you?
know what the 3
Yeah,
laws of logic
I'm
are?
new to that. You have to. It has to apply, and it has to be applied in real life, I guess.
It
That'll
does.
be a law
It
of logic.
does. So, do you know what logically consistent would be?
Yeah,
What would logically consistent be?
it means it's it makes sense pretty much.
Okay. So if it would make sense, so how could Isaiah 45:7 make sense
What does
in
it say?
in your logically consistent worldview?
What does it say in Isaiah 65?
Isaiah 45
Yeah.
7? You just asked everybody, the whole, like,
Oh,
all of us. You
where he
asked us
says
that question.
where he creates.
Yeah. I
Oh,
form the
okay.
light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
Right.
So, can you logically make that consistent in your worldview?
I
In
go
your
according,
worldview,
not as
as a
not as a
secular
Israel,
human.
not as a Israelite, but a secular person.
Yeah, as a secular human. Yeah.
He's outside of creation. That's how I see it.
He's outside of creation, so he
Right.
would be outside of time.
Yeah. It's like if you put a TV, if you were to make a TV show up on the screen out of your mind, you won't have it all peaceful and nice, because that'll be boring. You would want to climax something challenging, you know, and you don't want just the characters to just lay around and enjoy the environment of the movie without showing their character, or 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 expressing some sort of up and down
So,
different.
based off of your logical consistency, you wouldn't want a God who was illogical? I don't really understand where you're coming from on your presupposition of your logical conclusion of a God.
That's why people like football, because they like to see
Football?
something
So
violent.
now we're going on. All right,
You know,
cool.
people
Yeah,
like to see.
I'll go with football, bro. Like with
Don't you like MMA? Don't you like
Okay,
MMA?
guys,
MMA,
we're
yeah,
getting
MMA
really
is
off
cool.
topic
Yeah,
here, guys.
You see what
We're
I'm
getting
saying?
really off topic.
yeah,
Without,
MMA is cool. Sure.
yeah. You see, we need something that could be evil. Some guy getting his head crushed in, but at the same time,
But that's not
so
logically
it could be good.
consistent, which was what my question was. What's a logically consistent God to you?
I think that's logical. That is logically
That's
consistent.
not logical.
He says
Okay,
there's a
let's.
season for everything.
Well,
There's a
because
season of peace and
no,
there's a
Yahweh,
season of
no,
do
war.
you realize that
you
Yahweh?
can't conceptualize or actualize that like at all. You can't conceptualize or actualize that. I'm sorry.
All right, that's your opinion. This is how
It's not
you
my opinion.
like to see it.
It's a deductive reasoning. You can't conceptualize that.
So,
Okay,
but yet
guys.
it exists in nature.
Hey,
You see
hang on a
that in
second,
nature.
Sean. Hang on a second, Sean. Aline's trying to talk. Hey, Aline.
Yeah,
Go
I
on, Ma.
think we're gonna like cut that conversation. It's going nowhere, and it's just not on topic to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
So
no, I know.
I understand what
It's
you're doing,
deductive reasoning.
Cypress.
It's deductive
Yeah, I
reasoning.
understand what you're
is
doing,
where he's
but it's
going.
just not. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I honestly, Sean, like I suggest that you go and watch our videos and then seriously come back. And if you have questions from then on, then we can have a more in-depth conversation. I think that'll probably make more sense to you what we're doing here. So if you don't mind doing that, we're going to carry on with the questions that I have from the last live. And then if anybody has any questions on those, we'll have them. Okay, I'm going to start off with Dorothy. Dorothy said, I'm not sure if it's a question or not, but it might just be a comment. One of the most profound statements I think I've ever heard was when you said Jesus was probably thinking, hey, you, the one drowning in the lies, listen to my words only. I'm so grateful to Father for the capacity you possess to know or to do what you do with so much courage and compassion. Thank you for your hard work. Father's love, strength, and protection as you keep planting them truth, seeds, sister. They're making a huge impact. Then on to
That's nice.
Franca 1966 said, this young woman, Bianca, that was on the other night, and the young black man are at the very beginning of their journey. It was brave of them, though, trying to battle, explain away the sent Jesus. We all have been there one way or another, and that's the truth. We all started out believing there was one Jesus or, other things, and we've come to this understanding. Christian ate a pancake. In Matthew chapter 26, Jesus says of Mary Magdalene after she washes his feet with her hair that wherever the gospel is preached in all the world, there will be memorialized and or honored. No one does this. I think you guys should make this a custom practice. Maybe the Spirit of truth will reveal more to you, open up the scriptures more to you if you are obedient and set a precedent for doing this. I think she needs to go watch the videos.
I think she needs to go watch the videos too, because that was Jesus Christ to begin with. So,
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene washed Jesus Christ's feet, not our true Father.
Exactly.
So.
And here's another comment from her. If you read Stephen's account right before the Jews stone him, he tells them Yahweh lied to Abraham about personally giving Abraham the land of Canaan. It also kind of sounds like Stephen is saying that the Israelites either cast the original Moses out of the tabernacle in the wilderness, or that they may have unalived him, because they say, whatever happened to Moses, we know not. Moses does say in the account as well that the Lord will raise up one like unto Moses for the Israelites as well too. And after Moses tarried long on the top of Sinai, they asked Aaron to make them idols to lead them forward. From this point on, they are given over to follow the stars of heaven, and Aaron then makes them idols. The text kind of seems like it says these idols came alive and led them. Again, it's you have to have an understanding of that, like we always talk about, that the Bible is mostly Yahweh's book, and they were following the God of this world, and we worship our Father in heaven. It's a different That's what I say, anyways, guys. Anybody else?
I agree. Yahweh killed unalive. Sorry, TikTok. Yahweh is the one who went alive. Tracy said it too, but Yahweh is the one who went alive Moses.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yahweh allowed two people. He led 40 million people out of the promised land, and he allowed two to go into it.
Exactly.
Such a loving father.
Yeah. Then we have Malachiah 49:31. As someone said on the panel, Moses could be both horned and radiant in some depictions. Moses does have both features. Also, people should keep in mind that despite the negative connotations of horns, now they were not always associated with evil. And who says? Like, who told him that? Like, seriously. Like, I've never seen anything written that horns were like,
I've never seen
anything.
humans that have horns.
Exactly. I've only ever had any kind of knowledge that horns were of the devil, or that kind of thing. So anyway, it carries on. Also, I heard someone on there say God or Most High enjoys punishing people. That's not us that said that. Disciplining his children is it is truth that the Most High does discipline and punish people, but enjoying it and not simply improving the child, that is sadism. And
it pleased him to bruise him in Isaiah 53.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And it's not our Father, that's Yahweh. And then she says about Barabbas, or he says, sorry, about Barabbas being the father, this simply cannot be. He would be the son of the Father, as they want his name, or as that's what his name means. A child cannot be their own parent. He and the Father are one, as in they're in perfect agreement, are united in some way, and are of the same essence, but they are not the same person. Now, Tim and myself on the last live described what we thought, how that works, and they were like, how can Jesus be, one, or be the Father? Well, Father is spirit. He's spirit.
He can do anything.
He can do anything he wants, exactly. But he's spirit, and Jesus was the Word. So he used his word, to send Jesus to earth. He might have called it his son, but that doesn't mean that he's his son. It just means that that's what he called him. He is the Father, as he said. If you see the Father, you see me. And I know everybody twists that too, but if you look the other way, instead of just looking at him on earth, saying that he's, now I know he says things that like, I say nothing of my own. I say only what the Father tells me. Well, that's because it's the Father. It's the Father's word, and he's bringing, like, it's, I don't know. I don't have a problem with that. Does anybody else have a problem with that?
I mean, I just go by his words again. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father.
And he was a monogene. He was from a single gene. He's like his father, exactly identical.
Tracy said God incarnate. So, and then there were some replies. Franca, 1966, said, where is it written that the Most High, and then she says Strong's Hebrews 59:45, Eloah equals Most High, the Supreme, enjoys punishing people, disciplining his children? ? I urge you to read Deuteronomy 32:8 in Hebrews with a Bible tool like Bible Hub or eSword, of course, and then go to Judges 1:19. The Lord, H3068, Yahweh, was with Judah, and they took possession of the hill country, but they could not drive out the inhabitants of the plains because they had chariots of iron. Jesus said in Matthew 15:24, I was sent only to the lost sheep, Jews, of the house of Israel. John said in John 1:1, Jesus came to his own, and his own did not receive him. Now do the math.
It wasn't
Any
his
comments?
own because 4 times he mentions the world in
Yeah,
context.
yeah,
If you read it in context, I'm gonna pull that up because this is important.
yeah, yeah.
It's in John 1. Okay. All right. I think it starts in 9. Um, the true light who gives light to every man was coming into the world. That's the first time it's mentioned. He was in the world, second time, though the world, third time, did not know, was made through him. The world did not recognize him. That's the fourth time. He came, and this should have read to the same, and the same did not receive him, because that is a reflexive pronoun in, let's see. I'm going to tell you which one it is, too. Da-da-da-da. Okay. That's it right there. One's own. It would be like, or belonging to oneself, so it would be the same because it tells you 4 times that the subject was the world. It wasn't to one group of people. And they put it like it was to one group of people. And you can go back and check that in the same book. It's even in there. Let me find it.
Even logic tells
Right there.
you as
The same, and it's in another verse too. It's in several verses in that same chapter. I mean, it was like it's very obvious that it should have read the same. You just have to you have to look at it, real carefully.
Yeah.
But it's a reflexive pronoun and it reflects back on the subject, and the subject mentioned 4 times was the world, not one nation.
Right.
They did that on intentional.
I was just going to say that it's, logic that as parents that we don't choose one. Now, I'm going to say in my family, my mother did, but my mother was also, bipolar, dysfunctional, of all the things, where she would choose one child over the other. But a normal, healthy, loving parent would never choose one child over the other. So why would our Heavenly Father choose one nation over the others? He didn't. He wouldn't. Anyway, the next one was Malachi 49, 31.
Hold on
is
just a
responding to
second.
that.
Hold
Yeah,
on
go
just a
ahead.
second. I want to show them this.
Okay.
You have what in Greek we have reflective pronouns, and they reflect back on the subject. That's what I'm trying to show them. It's like, and that is one of the reflective pronouns that was used in that sentence. So if you ever want to look that up and check me on it, you can.
Yeah. No, that's good. Okay, so Cat Mole ZA. I also think the Dead Sea Scrolls are fake. I also think the name of the God of the Bible is not Ashkenazi
Ashkenazi,
Jews.
yeah.
Yeah. Popularized among Christians. Just think of it. Non-adherent of the faith give a name to God who is not their own. That makes no sense whatsoever. But somebody replied, Sally did, Jesus called him Father or Abba, so I'm sticking with that. That's a good name to call him. RC9115 said, I think that Bianca would have seen it, with 2 Samuel 24, 1 and 2, and 1 Chronicles 21, 1 and 2. And you replied, artist, I should have mentioned those verses also. And that person said, You did great. You did way better than I would, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really should. That's that. What he's mentioning there is where in Samuel it says that Yahweh enticed David to number the Israelites, but then when you go to Chronicles, the verse he was mentioning says that Satan enticed. It's actually calling Yahweh Satan. Like it's like
And people can't see that.
they don't know it. Most people don't even catch it because it's the same account, but two different writings about the same account, and they use that interchangeably, Yahweh and Satan.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen B7U says, love this information, friend. You do such a great job and are a warm conveyor of information. Sorry I had to leave the live early last night. I was cooking. Our car 9115 said, I am so glad that Tim is back. I'm worried about you, little brother. And he said, or she said, I think I found out that it was a woman. I'm assuming younger than me because I'm in my 50s. Tim doesn't sound 50. I hope that wasn't offensive. And I said, Tim is the baby of the group. Him, Nick, Marie, and a couple of others are in their mid-30s. And Tim said, I love you. This was the funny part. Tim said, not at all. Love you, big bro. And our car 9115 said, I love all of you very much, and it is very reassuring to know that you exist. Side note, so that I'm not being misled, I'm your sister. Keep up the great work, all of you. Tim, I pray that you get completely healed from your ailment. You are a power to the reckoning, to be reckoned with. And I know that if you were feeling well, it had to be serious, and it is very serious. And
Yeah,
he's not feeling well tonight.
we need to
either,
continue to
so
pray for him and Alana and Maria,
yes,
all of them,
yes,
because there's a lot of people sick right now. And
yeah,
And you,
okay,
artist. We need to continue to pray
yes,
for you too.
yeah. Artist comes on here and sounds like she's doing like fantastic, but that's not her days. That's not how she feels. She's just very dedicated. So okay, Little Floor 2975. Great conversation. Father is bringing his children together. Kelly Gillis 5559. Israel Anderson says horns just mean deity. But yes, Moses was Yahweh's boy, and Yahweh unalived him and hid his body in a hollow grave yet to be found. And Sally said, Israel Anderson, what is IMO?
In my opinion.
Oh, in your opinion, is Yahweh's boy too? And she replied, why, Sally? Please let me know, as I only want the truth of our Lord and Savior. You got an answer for that, Sally?
Lord
Why
and
is he Yahweh's boy? Yeah, explain. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of the right way. He teaches a lot of the same truth that we do, but not all of it. He's also just recently become a 501c3. He also gets very angry at those of us who come on to his channel and try to direct him to our channel. He immediately blocks us.
Or private messages you and calls you all kinds of names and then blocks you.
You know, he doesn't exemplify the love of the Father, and you have to look at the motives behind what he's teaching versus the motives behind what we're teaching. You know, we're not doing this, we're not making any money. We're simply trying to put the truth out there. He puts some truth out there, but that's what controlled opposition does. They do give a lot of truth and they give a lot of lies, you know, to keep you.
Tracy said he's a gatekeeper.
He is a gatekeeper.
He wants to be debated.
I'd like to say more, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Just research him a little bit.
Yeah, that's enough to go on right there, actually, I think. 501c3 tells a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, new name Lee. I feel what you are saying is true. That being said, I have a question about John 17:3 and am wondering why it says Christ was sent versus Jesus, just Jesus, because they do insert the name sometimes, but artist said,
I answered that one, I
yes.
think.
Yeah, you said, I looked into that verse. The note in the Nabri concludes that it is an edition or an editorial edition. 17:3, the verse was clearly added in the editing and in the gospel as a reflection on the preceding verse. Jesus nowhere else refers to himself as Jesus Christ. And she said, thank you for your fast response and taking time to look that up. I appreciate all your hard work. My husband told me to only read the red letters and thus came to the conclusion that there are either two personalities of Jesus or what I believe is two different Jesuses. Heart artist, for your lungs, try. I'm sure you read this.
Yeah, I've got that. Don't worry
NAC.
about that.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. XX7 egg. Hi sister on his sister's on no, it just says hi sister on the panel. Greetings to you. I always watch your lives. Recently I was watching a Nine Nardia video on eating meat, which she says we are not meant to do. But I remember the Matthew 15:17 that Jesus says it does not matter what enters the mouth as it ends up in the sewer. On closer inspection, the Greek mentions pan in place of the word everything. What do you make of that? Then there's two replies. So
man, I didn't realize that she put the pan in there. And that's
Yeah.
what verse is that?
That is Matthew 15:17. And on closer inspection, the Greek mentions pan in place of the word everything.
I may have missed that. 17.
15:17.
I don't even see every in that sentence.
Everything? Nothing? No.
Whatsoever. Let me see what it is in the Greek. Which one? I can't remember which one is the... Oh, here we go. 39. It is spelled pan.
Oh,
It is spelled pan.
the next person actually put down that is the Hebrew word 3956. Is that what you got? 3956?
Yep, that's
And
pas.
it does say pan.
It says
Yeah.
pan. I will have to look at that again then. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
go back
that's
and look at
interesting.
that verse. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Stephen B7U says, when I hear Passover, I think really what they really mean is hangover. Any comments on that?
Not really.
No, it's just funny. User XD4RS6VR4N. Moses was an evil horned demon. I agree. Celine Wyman, 1513. This is creepy, as you said. You mentioned the other video that Thanksgiving is a pagan festival ritual. I had to look it up, and yes, it is. I had no idea that the cornucopia represents a goat horn, and it's a harvest festival. You mentioned the first fruit sacrifices requirements in the Hebrew month of Abib. It's all related. You mentioned you mentioned Zadok being Jupiter, and Melchizedek is my son Jupiter. The three wise men are pagans. Some think came from an ancient order of Melchizedek, or Melchizedek, am I saying that right? They watched Yahweh's stars and found the baby called JC in the manger. Most world religions have virgin's birth. As she says, Virginia's birth, but it's virgin. Must be virgin's birth. It's all a huge deception. It makes so much sense to me now.
Yep. It all plays together.
Yeah. Okay. Sally Jones said, I just hit, oh yeah, this Sally hit the button and YouTube doesn't calculate our numbers. And that's true. But they also subtract some of our messages. So, and then this is the last one. And it's just, I hope you feel better. It's Truth Warrior for Baraba. Hope you're well, sister, and you're always in my prayers. Is that somebody that we know? Truth Warrior for Baraba? Just looks familiar.
I don't know who that is.
No, right? That was the last one, guys.
Awesome. Do you have anybody that
Mostly
has any
good.
questions tonight that wants to come back up?
Don't see anything.
We
If
might
anybody
actually
wants to
call it
come
at
up.
2 hours tonight if
Yeah,
nobody wants to
I
come
was gonna
up.
say,
Yeah, because
it might be an early night.
we did what? We did close to 4 hours last time.
I know, that was
It
crazy.
took a
And
long
it
time
went
to
like
get
it
that
went by really
uploaded.
fast, actually.
Well,
Yeah, I did, eh?
yeah, it takes a long time to get it uploaded though, when it's that long.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, if we're doing good, that's great though. I mean, it's like I
Yeah.
don't mind it.
Yeah.
I was getting kind of nauseated that night for some reason. I don't know what was up. But I was
Have
like,
you
Yeah,
oh,
have you checked where we are in the ratings in the TikTok standings? Have we moved a level, or is it the same
no,
level?
we're still we're in the top 20% of the level we're in though. We've moved upward, but we haven't gone to a new level yet.
No.
I'm not worried about that as much though as I am just, we're getting it out there, people are hearing it, and a lot of people are hearing it on YouTube if they don't hear it here. It's like, and I guess if they do decide to ban this in the US, I guess we'll have to go to either YouTube or Odyssey
Yeah.
or Rumble.
I
I
have a
don't know.
question.
Rumble also has lives, so we could
Yeah.
do any one of those other avenues if we need to.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Debbie, Deb BB52 has a question. I want to ask if anyone has heard Jesus Santa? Sonata? Never heard of it. Never heard.
That's familiar. I've heard that somewhere before, and I can't remember where.
Where did you hear it, Debbie?
Isn't that some kind of like a consciousness thing, like a different,
I have no idea. I've never seen it before.
if I remember right?
I've not heard of it. Mm-mm.
No. Have you heard of it, Tracy? Well, that seems to be the only question, but I just wanted to say something on here because I know that tomorrow when somebody listens back to the live, they're going to talk about my voice and how loud I am and how I sound rude and this and that. Nobody knows everybody's voice. I can't talk like everyone else. I've always had a louder voice. I have terrible hearing. I'm very passionate. I'm not trying to be rude. Sometimes I have to take control over, the conversation going on. I'm doing my best, and I pray not to hear anything about, we're not loving people and all this other stuff, which is not true. The reason why we do this in the first place is because we love people. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it at all. We're told to do this, to get this out, and we love people enough that we're doing it. And yes, my voice is loud.
Yeah,
I've heard that my whole life.
that's considered a sending master, and he was the let's see, the Kohan or the priest of the sixth ray. And it's got the Jewish symbol with the Ankh in the middle, and the serpent eating the tail. That was Theophanes, if I remember right. Yeah, Theophanes. He's ascended master, and he was a prophet, not a deity. Yeah, I remember reading on that a long
I'm
time ago.
surprised I hadn't heard of that then, being coming out of New Age for a few years.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I mean, they did talk about Jesus being an ascended master, but
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yep, that's him. The hierarchy of the master of the ancient wisdoms. So that's another take on it.
Yeah. To just continuing on with what I was saying there, because Debbie, thank you for that. Right from the time I was a little girl, my voice has been a problem. My dad left us when I was 4, and I'm getting choked up, guys, but I have to say this.
Don't get upset. It's okay.
Just give me a minute. My dad left us when I was 4, and he hated me, hated my voice. And he would always kick me out of the room. He didn't want me around. And I had a lot of health issues with tonsillitis and all the different things that kids go through, and just my voice was terrible. And I lost my hearing, and so I speak louder than most people. And I am very passionate about the things I talk about. And I struggle when people talk about my voice. I just want everybody to know that it has nothing to do with not loving people, because if it did, I wouldn't have loved as hard as I have my whole life.
You're
My
loved
family
here.
hates me, but I love them, like, still. Even though everybody dislikes me, I love them still. So how's that not love?
You're loved
Anyway.
here. Don't let those people bother you. We love you, and we love you voice and all, so you just don't worry about it. I'm telling you.
I know, it's emotional sometimes when I hear people say
I know.
something
I
about
know.
it.
We
It's
do
cruel.
love you. We do love you, sister. And we do know you're passionate, and that shows, you know. We're all passionate. That's why we're, like you said, that's why we're up here and we're doing it, you know. And for the critics that, like, give us a hard time, it's a lot more difficult than you think it is when you're just, you know, engaging in the chat to be up on the panel and to try to navigate the different hosts or guests that come up, and you know, like tonight, getting attacked with 2 people up there and getting attacked in the comments. It's not easy to navigate all of that. So
No, it's not. And, this whole, ritual that they're always like condemning us because we don't have the scripture on our tongue. I wasn't raised in a church. I came to this in 2020. I've always loved the Father. I didn't know him, but I've always loved him. I always wanted to know him. And I tried really hard throughout my life to read the Bible, and I couldn't read it on my own. And then as in 2020, I really started buckling down and reading it. And I've read it many times and I've listened to it many times, but I don't have the same memory I did when I was little.
well, we don't all have it. I mean, I'm the same. I took offense to that comment because I have read the Bible too, and I know it well, but I don't. I can't do this. I can't do what you're talking about either. Like, I can't pull out a verse off the top of my head and tell you what it is. I have read the entire Bible cover to cover multiple times. I did 7 years of Bible study. They were year-long Bible studies. This was before I knew truth, of course, but like, for someone in the comments to tell me that I haven't read the Bible, like, that, who's the accuser but Yahweh? Yahweh's the one doing the accusing. So that's a Yahweh comment for the person.
So many people can rip the scriptures off their tongue, but they don't understand. They don't even understand what they're reading. Like, they rip it off and they can bounce it back and forth from this scripture to that scripture, but where are they on the truth? Like,
Exactly. And Tracy, Tracy said it's hard when you're on the spot. You know, it is. You know, so we're doing the best that we can. The comments of being attacked in the comment section tonight, that bothered me, because that's somebody that's been coming on the lives, and he was talking about us conducting ourselves with love, and he didn't conduct himself with love, because he came on and did exactly to us what he was accusing us of doing. So,
well, I don't come on here for anything for myself. I come on here because I truly believe in this, and I truly want to do the work for the Father, and I feel that the Father has personally set me up with Golanov. She was begging for someone to come into her life, and I showed up, and I felt the same way, and here we are. I believe what she says. I trust her humility. I trust that the Father is speaking through her. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be saying any of this stuff. I would never go public saying something that I didn't believe. So I'm not that person. So, and I 100% believe what we're doing. I don't think we have everything. I don't think we have, everything straightened out, but I know that as time goes by, he continuously gives us more and more information, and, I think we're on the right path. So anyway, guys, I'm sorry that I even brought this stuff up. It is hurtful to hear. I mean, I couldn't listen to my own voice on a tape recorder or a voice message or anything for years. So
It's okay. It's all right. People are going to be cruel when you get in the public. They're going to be cruel. You just
yeah,
have to just say that's just them being ugly.
yeah.
Because
Anyway,
we love you. We love your voice. Don't you worry about it.
most people like my laugh. They hate my voice. So hence why I laugh sometimes, guys. I actually find like Tim and I, or his sense of humor makes me laugh, and I chuckle. But it's not me making fun of anyone. It's just that I am a very light person with humor. It actually makes my day to hear light humor, like what Tim goes.
And it's not about
Never,
knowing a reverse either.
no.
I mean, when I first became a believer, I was just as strong as I am today, and it's a matter of faith and love, and he doesn't come to just the wise. It's like he comes to everybody. It's like part of it's spirit. He gives
Yeah.
you that spirit, He knows you.
Oh, I think he does. He wouldn't have been with me all this time, and I know he has been. So, Tim, reel in.
Reel in.
Where's my shirt?
Yeah, we need a shirt that says reel in.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Well,
right.
guys, I think I'm going to call it for tonight because we didn't have anybody else requesting to come up, and it's been a great live tonight, and I'm sorry you got upset, Lynn. It's like
No, I'm sorry, guys.
people are going to be jerks. That's just the way it
Yeah,
is.
I know.
We love you, sister.
I know.
Yep,
And
we
we
Love
do.
you guys too.
And we
I
want
love
you
everyone
to
here, and thank you for coming.
We even
What's that,
love the
Sally?
people that are being mean.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. They don't realize that, do they? That's
yep,
the kind of people we are. So,
yep. But everybody
okay,
have a
guys.
wonderful evening, and we will be back. What is today? Friday? We'll be back
Yes,
Sunday then, and hopefully I'll have the next section of Revelation finished by then. I'm close. So,
sounds good.
awesome.
okay.
Okay, love everyone. Have a good night.
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 Good night.